In the meantime, President Bola Tinubu said his administration's bold economic reforms, which aim to restore Nigeria to its enviable position, are achieving favorable results. He added that the country's economy is now stable and attracting interest from around the world. The special advisor to the president on information and strategy, Bayo Onanuga, disclosed details of the meeting in a statement he signed. President Tinubu said years of neglect and self-deception, fake records, smuggling, and all of that denied Nigeria the necessary revenue for progress and development. Now, to help us put this into perspective, we are joined by business and public policy analyst Kenneth Ikenwa. Mr. Kenneth, thank you for joining us this evening.
Thanks for having me on.
Mr. Kenneth, President Tinubu said his administration's bold economic reforms, which aim to restore Nigeria to its enviable position, are achieving favorable results. What's your take on that?
Well, to a great extent, it's important that we give analysis to what is factual and not just to what is figurative. And by that, I mean we shouldn't just be looking at some of the figures, but we should be speaking to the facts. And it's also important that we avoid polemics when we discuss critical subjects like this and be more dialectical. And that will mean there should be no room for harsh criticisms, but we should look at things from two sides of the coin. And so from the first side of the coin, I must admit that there has been some degree of stability in some sectors of the economy and with respect to some macroeconomic variables. But again, on the other side of the coin, you actually want to investigate how well some of these economic reforms that were very hard, that in my view were good strategies for the long term, but have put short-term hardship on Nigerian people. How well can we say that they have been Pareto optimal? And by that we mean when we talk about Pareto optimality in economics, how well have they engendered, have they promoted social efficiency? On the other side of the coin, we measure social efficiency with the marginal social benefits that Nigerians actually benefit and enjoy when there are certain reforms, so vis-a-vis the cost that it comes with. Now, inflation is on all-time high, even though it has come down. The National Hunger Index is still very high, and the Human Development Index is still very, very low. So we have done well. The government is doing well. Projects are being kickstarted. There's a lot of capital expenditure. But to what extent has that actually affected our corruption perception index out there? It is important that we speak facts and not just look at the figures, and then look at how, on an 80-20, Pareto balance, these policies and these reforms have actually affected the Nigerian people positively and reduced our multi-dimensional poverty from what used to be about 60% and to what China was able to achieve, and at least let's start with about 20%. The answer, as I speak, is a clear no. But we should give some flowers to the president and this administration in other aspects.
So, Kenneth, which specific economic reforms under President Tinubu have had the most measurable impact on Nigeria's international economic reputation?
Well, I think that there is a problem with the usage of semantics here, because it is not that we have gained more respect as a country, but it is that our image has become better laundered in the positive light, all right, as a country. And that means that we have been able to get ourselves on the talking table that attracts a good number of investments into the country, albeit still on paper. We have not seen the fruits of those investments. We have not seen projects on ground that are pertinent to those investments, and we hope for the better. Now, to the main crux of your question, what specific projects per se? We've seen a good number of a good high rise in a lot of infrastructural projects, a lot of infrastructural development across the length and breadth of the country. Even though some very partisan politicians and some very partisan analysts, I am non-partisan, and that's why I can avoid the polemics and focus on the dialectics, would say that some of these projects are much more concentrated in a particular region of the country. But I think the exchange rates, to a great extent, has helped to stabilize the economy. But it could have been better thought out vis-a-vis the fact that we are a major country that depends highly on importation, and that actually, affects the inflation and rates of prices and affects price stability in the country. But with respect to some financial stability, with respect to, the mop-up, the clean-up in the financial sector, that has made Nigeria a good destination for investment. That has sent the indicators out there that we are ready for business and that people can actually come, bring in their money, and get out their profit repatriated back to their countries without much ado. This we did not find out in the previous administration, and I think to a great extent, this has been eradicated in the half term of this administration. Also, still specifically on the financial sector, I did hear the president state with all emphasis and with all boldness that the revenue target of the country has been met. So it is good to see that for the first time, some institutions and some revenue generating institutions are actually delivering monies, actually bringing in good revenue, and it is good to see that we have been able to actually nip in some areas of the economy some leakages, which has increased the revenue generation for the federal government, and it seems in that regard, the economy will be doing well and the government is doing well. So for now, we're seeing a lot of reforms in the capital markets, seeing a lot of reforms in the general financial sector. That for now is it. But when we talk about other sectors, like the security sector, like the agri sector, we're yet to see the investments, we're yet to see the yield and return on investment of policies in that sector. And we have not even seen major policies that will take us back to what we had in the 1970s, where Nigeria was an agri power for agri business, for agri exports. And what I hope to see in the agri sector is to turn that sector into one that is driven by value addition and by agri business across all value chain actors in the Nigerian economy.
So, Kenneth, can we attribute Nigeria's participation in recent regional or global events to a change in foreign perspective, or is this business as usual?
Well, I wouldn't say that our heightened participation, our increase in the participation and the reception we're getting across different countries and different regional blocks like the BRICS, like the Asian, and even the role that we continue to play, a very, very strong strategic role that we play in ECOWAS economic regional bloc is still very much there. We shouldn't allude that, like you said, to the fact that, okay, there's a better perception about Nigeria. It is business as usual. I've already said that Nigeria is a very wealthy country, and there is nobody that will look at the resource pool that Nigeria has and the major dominant economic features that we have as a country that wouldn't want to do business with our country. So for me, I would say that it is still business as usual, but it is possible that some of the policies have changed and that we can look inwards and see to it that we could do better things with Nigeria. Countries, economies are looking at how they can do better business with Nigeria and make Nigeria an actual bigger destination for their investment, and a country where they can also deploy their sovereign wealth funds too. But more is still yet to be done, especially in critical sectors that are contributing to the revenue pool of the economy. And also, we expect that more can be done in the educational sector, which is supposed to drive organic development of the Nigerian economy from the bottom up, instead of actually looking for development to be driven, economic growth to be driven from external interventions. I would hope that this government will look at what we can do more for the Nigerian people, more with the Nigerian people, just like China did, so that we can begin to become an export-led and export-driven economy and not just depending on external interventions from abroad.
Thank you so much, Kenneth Ikenwa, for joining us at this time.